Okay.
It's also competing against the Toyota Hilux 2.4.
Staple.
Staple, your staple contractor diet.
Can't beat, yeah.
What
They even
else?
call it Hilux in Sabah Sarawak.
All pickups are Hilux.
All pickups are Hilux. So yours is whether it's your Toyota Hilux or your something else Hilux.
Yeah. Ford Ranger Hilux.
Hilux. Your Hilux not so good. That Hilux better. Autofiles, I had a bad day actually.
Oh.
Horrible day. I got electrocuted actually.
Are you sure you should be in the car, not in the hospital?
There was no point of entry because the whole thing I was holding on to got electrocuted. It was a 250 kVA genset.
Okay.
The genset is the size of a small apartment. Well, the electricity was divided into two lines of aircon. I accidentally got myself electrocuted with a spark from one of the lines. It happened. Yeah, then we have to shoot our autofile videos anyway. So what are we in now?
So we're in the new Ford Ranger. There's the XL.
Okay, the basic.
The basic one, which is almost like contractor spec.
You don't want that lah.
You don't really want that.
You buy that for your
contractor. Then they have the XLT.
The one I see a lot.
Yes.
I see a lot of XLTs. I don't know why
XLT is the main one. Basically, if you're going to buy a 2.4 litre Hilux, Ford might sway you to buy an XLT.
So basically econo spec lah.
Econo spec, yeah.
Makes sense.
Then you go up a notch with this one. This is the XLT Plus.
Oh, you plus
Yeah.
So what do you get different from the XLT?
It's a lot.
Okay.
Now you would assume that XLT Plus and XLT will just be some trim, maybe a new screen. This is a whole different engine.
Okay.
This comes with the new,
so the engine is different.
the engine is different.
This is a 2.0 2 litre inline 4 diesel turbo.
Yes.
Okay.
Single turbo. VGT turbo, so it's variable geometry turbo. If you look at the comparison at this price range, all the other Japanese pickup trucks, they are basically all 2.4 and above, and they're all outputting about this much.
This is a little bit like the Japanese competing with the Germans.
Yes.
Germans
Smaller
have gone small, but bigger output.
Yeah, and I think it's a brilliant move. Because if you look at the pickup truck market, right, there are people out there who are like, oh, bang for your buck, you know. And the biggest hurdle, I think, is the road tax.
Yeah.
Because to get this kind of figures, you have to be 2.4 and above.
Yeah.
So even the Triton with its pretty good modern engine is still a 2.4. Some people are not comfortable paying any more than 2 litre road tax.
So with XL and XLT are 2.2.
XL and XLT are 2.2.
2.2, okay.
Yes.
The older generation engine lah.
Yeah, the older generation.
And whilst this gets a newer generation lah.
It's called the Panther engine.
Panther engine, 2 litre turbo.
Very high output, something like 420.
Newton meter of torque. But horses doesn't feel a lot. 180.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad actually.
It's not bad.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. If you want to spend a bit more money,
then you go up to a
Wildtrak.
Wow, sounds so exciting.
None of the Japanese have a Wildtrak competitor.
Okay, what is a Wildtrak?
A Wildtrak is basically
here. It's a cosmetic package.
It's actually cosmetic, but with a little bit of additional. The Wildtrak has microphones which listen to the engine sound and cancel it out.
Wow.
The worst part about driving a pickup is the constant.
It's that rattle, that commercial rattle that makes you feel a bit cheap.
In the Wildtraks, you don't hear it.
You hear a V8.
You hear a V8 being pumped. But it's well done. It's very soft. It's not intrusive.
I suppose when you're paying around 100 over 1,000 for it, I mean, you can laugh about it, like, oh, sounds like a V8, but if you're paying 300,000 and then they pipe in a V8 sound, you want to give it a finger.
It doesn't feel like one of those aftermarket aesthetic packages.
Okay, it's very well done.
It's very well done. The headliner is all blacked out.
Wow.
Actually, to me, I think this is the sweet spot.
Sweet spot, yes.
Because
best deal you can get.
Best deal you can get. To me, it's got the power and the efficiency of the Wildtrak.
The Wildtrak.
It's got 4-wheel drive, and then you've even got digital speedometer.
Wow.
So honestly,
there's a lot of screens here.
Yeah, there's a lot of screens. It's a pickup truck with 3 screens.
Yeah, not bad.
I think if you were going to buy the Wildtrak from the previous generation, you can look at this and say, this was all I wanted.
Maybe save yourself a bit of money.
Yeah. But that being said, the Wildtrak does a very good job of elevating itself.
I suppose so, because even I know it, you know.
Yeah. The only thing that is lacking in this model, which I don't really understand why they didn't do, is there's only 2 airbags.
Because contractors sit at the back. They don't need airbags. Yeah, so that was a context lah.
It competes against some mid to high spec Japanese offerings, but it's the only one with a modern engine.
Okay.
More power per displacement, and guess how many speed gearboxes is?
7, 8, 9. No way.
Yes way.
5,
10 speed.
Oh! Oh, my mind blown. 10 speed is what you put inside a Lexus LF. Even LF doesn't have 10 speed.
Even your Mercedes E-Class doesn't
No,
have.
man. 9G Tronic.
9G Tronic only.
You lose, Mercedes. So why do you need so many gears?
It has to be down to fuel consumption. They wanted to make this 2-litre, I think, really as fuel efficient as humanly possible. They took this gearbox from the Mustang, the new Mustang. Yeah. But it has the low range gear and it's modified ratios for diesel application.
I see. Okay. Wow, interesting. Ford surprised me.
Yeah, very surprising. We can go into performance now that we're talking about this.
Well, I can't deny it still sounds like a commercial box.
It does.
But it's not intrusive. If you're not picky like me, it's actually quite okay to live with.
Yeah.
It's not whiny. In fact, it sounds quite pleasant. I mean, I wouldn't use the word pleasant. It's livable, livable, tolerable, as long as you don't step on it like this.
And I think this could be part of the reason why they use a 10-speed gearbox. The engine noise is actually tolerable. The vibration is tolerable below 2,500 RPM.
But from the outside, of course, the reality is still the rattle is there, the Gatling gun is still there.
It's still body and frame. There's no magic tricks here. It's just they put extra padding everywhere.
I really appreciate that. You know, I notice it's quieter in here than in Proton Iris. We're not shouting. We're actually quite.
It's so quiet.
Other than the damn judder and the bone-breaking suspension, it's actually quite civilized, isn't it? Okay.
Very fast car. You want to demonstrate?
It's okay. It's fast for its class.
It is very fast.
Well, you shouldn't be going fast in a thing like this, but it can be quite fast. I can foresee it running down the highway at 160, 100.
Yeah.
It's not an issue.
The way this thing goes from like 80 to 130 is incredible. Not even noise also. It's just like it's still in the same gear. It's still revving around 3,000 RPM. And it's just flying.
We're in performance, and one of the things that irked me about pickup truck is this: a lot of us don't use it for the purpose it was built for. The reason why we buy it is because it is cheap. Not we, but Malaysian. So a lot of times these things are operating on excess capacity in terms of robustness and also harshness. While I commend its car-like NVH, the ride quality is still very much a pickup truck. There is a judder, there's a low-speed judder, there is that kind of nervousness that you feel in a body-on-frame setup. That even in other body-on-frame like older Land Cruiser, I don't feel it anymore. I think it boils down to a certain extent to that kind of leaf spring they use at the back.
These cars have to hit certain haulage loads.
I understand they do. My question is this: what if they come up with different trims and it's not just engine different, but it's also suspension is different? And I would be so happy to drive one without leaf spring at the back. There was a period of time I had some serious back problem, remember that? This is dangerous for me, man. I mean, right now I'm fine. If you're treating it as a personal car daily, it's fine. If you have no health issue relating to your physique, it's fine. But if you do have back problem, this is dangerous, man.
It is, It's more than that, no. I see the appeal of using this as a daily driver. But when you have to take even your parents out to a mall, they will not be happy, man.
They're not happy because it's not only uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is one thing. The only way to reasonably not hurt your parents as passengers is to drive so slowly to make sure you avoid all unevenness on the road. There's nothing you can do to
There's nothing you can do. It's just you go through it and you hurt everyone in the car.
Why don't they give us something with a more reasonable suspension for our capacity? I'm sure there's a market for it. I'm not asking for great suspension. I'm asking for reasonable, humanly tolerable suspension. If you're expecting a truck, then I think amazing. I'll give it a 4 or 5. But why don't you go down the road of the Navara? I mean, somebody would have thought of it, isn't it? Give you a more car-like suspension because you are not lugging around 2 ton worth of stuff every day, and not suffer every moment you're in this car. Especially, your parents' wrath.
I would say 4 out of 5. Contextually speaking, for a pickup truck, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
But in terms of all vehicles we ever tested, oh man, the suspension.
On performance of the gearbox, I think I have to add this. There's a little button here that you can push up and down. The Tiptronic is on the gear shift itself. I suppose it is very good for one purpose, coming down from Genting. Other than that, I think there is no use for this.
Looks, man. This XLT Plus and Wildtrak they actually look quite similar. Here it's chrome. So the grill is chrome. Door handles I think
like
are chrome.
Luxurious.
Like luxurious.
Which is like confused. Whereas Wildtrak is like fully realized being a personality. I'm a rough it, tough it guy.
Yeah, I can live with this look because it is not too blingified. The grill shape and all that is fine.
But I suppose Ford has always been leading in its looks and its build, isn't it?
True, yeah. It looks tough. Even though it's all plastic, it
feels tough.
It feels tough.
Yeah. I'm pretty fine with the interiors. I think the interior is quite good.
Yeah. Very digitalized instrument cluster. Of course, all this is carry forward from the previous generation. They just bring it down to a more affordable level. They have Sync 3, which is one of the best, synchronized system, infotainment system. And you have your climate controls physical buttons here, or you can go in here and there's digitalized buttons.
It's quite good, quite good.
So everything's really integrated. This is how you should build a pickup truck interior.
I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Contextually speaking, I would give this actually 4.5.
Wow,
because
so high!
You think about it, no other pickup truck goes to this length. This infotainment is integrated with the car. You know, it's not just your audio, it's your climate control. In some models, it's navigation, it's everything, and you can control it through here. So it's like everything.
In that sense, I agree with you, but I guess you know what? If you average out our score, it's a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, 4 out of 5.
It's just that it didn't scream, it didn't hit me. The design is just like that lah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that, so it doesn't stand out so much. This truck is so rough. It's just blocking the camera everywhere.
Value. To be honest, I am a little bit disconnected with how much this thing costs. I believe average they are going for 110 to 20,000. Around there. Okay, that's quite reasonable. That's the price of Civic. You're getting twice the amount of metal.
Twice the amount of torque.
And
twice the amount of back problems.
Value. I guess this car is 125,000.
Perfect.
I would not think it's expensive, but it's not very cheap lah.
It's not very cheap. In fact, if you look at some options, they compete within 1,000 or 2,000, maybe even 3,000-4,000.
So competitive.
But the weird thing is, most of them are full spec models.
But this is not.
This is not.
This is medium. Because you have the Raptor on the top. And then you have the 2 Wildtraks. Or the 2 Wildtraks. But this is roughly equivalent to other people's top spec, isn't it?
Yes. I looked at the spec. The only thing that this car is missing is the airbags.
Oh, does it have reverse camera?
Yes. It has reverse camera, but it doesn't have front sensors for some reason.
Okay.
And I think Ford was really smart to do this.
Okay.
I think the pickup truck market in ASEAN is not subsidized, but it's not heavily taxed. So
a lot of people use it for daily. And I think this level of NVH, I think is commendable. I think that's a good commendable.
Because we have driven alternatives before.
We have.
And none of them really impressed us. No amount of cost savings would allow you to live with a car like that.
It's true.
Whereas this car, they've padded it up so much. They brought the road tax down to $400. They made it efficient with the 10-speed gearbox and and all these gizmos and stuff that people look for nowadays. It's basically a full spec passenger car
in a package of a pickup. So I would give this car a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, after all said and done, maybe 3.5.
3.5.
Because I think if I was actually going to buy a truck, I think I might go for something like this.
Something like this. I can daily this. It's just that you really have to consider, passengers.
You have to accept what a pickup truck is. And then go into it.
Autofiles night review. Overall, I think this is a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, 4 out of 5.
Overall. Alright, thank you very much. Autofile signing out.
We don't like pickup trucks. That's it. It's not Triton. We don't like pickup trucks. Autofiles, not Constructofiles.
The camera file.
This is not Ace Hardware review.
I just got electrocuted today.
Okay, maybe you should start a Constructofiles channel.
These hands are not made to fix houses.